Super Rugby round number 14 is done and dusted, folks. My Blues drop out of the playoffs, replaced by the team which vanquished them at the weekend, Moana Pasifika, with Ardie Savea at the forefront, have lifted them into 6th spot. The Force, their season is done. The Drua, well, it's been catch-up for them the entire season. Despite the win, their season is also done. The Highlanders have still got a mathematical chance despite their loss. We'll go through the week that was, upcoming fixtures and the table, and you guys can let us know your thoughts on how the teams are stacking up after 14 rounds. The Landers were maybe better value than I think people thought going into this one. They got beaten by 4 points at the death by the Hurricanes. Cam Roigard on the 81st minute gets the try which gives the Hurricanes the win. They looked better in the second half, the Canes. The first half they had a bit of a case of the dropsies, but you got to give credit to the Landers. Scored a couple of first half tries through Jonah Lowe. The second one was an absolute banger with Rotu Maitavuki-Nipkins with the kind of cross kick, 1-2 play. It was highlight-worthy stuff. So it was a 14-7 lead at halftime to the Landers after kind of taking first blood when Jonah Lowe scored early as well. But like I mentioned, there was a few knocks for the Canes guys, including a lot of blood for Balin Sullivan. He was covered in the stuff after he scored his early try, but then second half tries, a pair of them for Cam Roigard, sees the Hurricanes over the line, which sees them catch up, not quite, but getting close to the Reds on the table. Certainly looking a lot more secure than if they had dropped points there. Turnovers conceded was pretty high. Like, this game had some magic tries, but also probably too many errors for the coaches. 17-16 was the turnovers each way. Also missed tackles by the Landers. 30 to the Canes, 20. Those numbers are getting a little bit high. To be fair to the Canes, they missed a bunch of chances as well. But they still got the result done at the end. Fabian Holland for the Landers is impressive with his tackle count. He makes 19. Tavatavanawai Nawai gets 3 turnovers. If they got maybe a late line-out straight, they might not have been in this position, the Landers. But as I mentioned, the Canes, despite their missed chances, are still good enough for the win at home. Second game of the Friday night, high-scoring affair between the Tars and the Crusaders. It's the Crusaders who rock up to Sydney, 48-33. Flying early start from the Crusaders really puts the New South Wales boys on the back foot. Tries to McNichol, Enor, and Moananu. Early tries mean like it's a 19-0 lead to the Tars. Despite their attempts to play catch-up, 19-0 before Gleeson scores, 31-7. At half-time. The Crusaders still have to do a lot of tackling, which is a common theme of their games this year in Super Rugby. And it looked like the Tars were going to mount something of a second-half comeback. Another try to Gleeson, one to Amasatero, but then Reese, his one kind of broke the momentum and puts him further up the ladder on the list of all-time Super Rugby top try scorers. Darby Lancaster had one fingertip try, so a lot of people moaning about that one in the YouTube highlights comment section, but if you watch the full game, they looked at it angle after angle, fingertip on ball, when the on-field decision is that his on-field try. Trust me, they looked at this for days. This wasn't one where the TMO was away from his desk or whatever people were saying in the highlights. They looked at it for bloody ages and deemed that the fingertip was enough. So it's a try for him, but Reese, nice infield kick. He set up one for Christie. But they did take the bonus point away from the Crusaders, the Waratahs, because they did keep fighting with the final try through Riley. So, yeah, high-scoring match, 48-33, like I mentioned. Line breaks is 9-3 to the Crusaders, so pretty good value for the win. Tackle count, though, 175-100, with the Crusaders having to make more of the tackles, which, as I mentioned, is a pretty common theme for the Crusaders this year. McNichol, though, 98 metres, and Shalfoon, 20 of those 170-odd tackles. So, yeah, still right up there at the top end of Super Rugby are the Crusaders. The first of the Saturday games, early kickoff in the afternoon from Lautoka. Drua against the Force, 38-7. Force's season has been ended with this one. They've only got one game left, so they cannot make the top 6. So it is another year without playoffs footy for the Force, unfortunately. But the Drua pick up a win. And Lautoka still proves to be a fortress. It was the Force that scored first through Tompkinson. It's 3 minutes in, but all the rest of the scoring is through the Drua, and they scored some pretty nice ones. Baselala got one, Masi got one, Tanakaivata bagged a second half double. That guy's got some serious power. And Ravu Tamanda, his one, when they kind of just showed some commitment to chase a kick through, turn over the ball, and then score against the force before they could set their defensive line. So, yeah, the Lautoka crowd love to see the 2 tries before halftime and a penalty, 17-7 at halftime, and then scoreless from the force in the second half. Prinsep makes 21 tackles, but it is not enough. Thane Kaivata, 19 carries from him, couple of tries, big effort. Man, if the Drua could put results even near to that on the road, they wouldn't be also out of Super Rugby, given that they also cannot mathematically make the playoffs at this point, despite the win. Next one's Moana Pasifika and the Blues. This one is your game of the week, just so you can see the performance of Ardie Savea. Like, genuinely, if you haven't seen this game and you're a rugby fan, you owe it to yourself to watch this game, because the guy was quite incredible. I see a lot of people talking about, is he the greatest of all time and blah, blah, blah. That's a debate that has no solid answer, but he's a very, very good rugby player with an exceptional skill set. The guy can turn over, he can offload, he can carry, he can kick and chase, he can kick clear. The dude can just do bloody everything. He was genuinely quite incredible. Taumoefalau gets a hat-trick in this game for Moana Pasifika, but everyone's just talking about Ardie because he was that good. Key things, I think, for this game, and I did a full match review in all its pain as a Blues fan last night, apart from Ardie's Herculean shift, but Moana were good when they had 2 yellow cards in this game. They still managed to score 2 of their tries when they were a man down. They were great with the turnovers. Their forwards really fronted up. The Blues had chances, often fluffed them. Often that's because the fronting up of the Moana forwards. Blues couldn't get much go-forward ball. Good crowd, they sold the thing out even if they weren't able to open up the entire stadium, but that's pleasing to see. They never really got hooked at Mount Smart, did Moana, but the North Shore is looking like a really happy hunting ground for them. They broke their bloody bin, which they like pounding on at the end of every victory. They'll need a new lid because they smashed the hell out of that thing, but line breaks, 7-3. Every stat basically that you could want, Ardie is either leading it, he's second, or he's like the top for forwards, like passes. He might be behind some of the backs, but he's the top forward for pretty much everything. Game of the week, some great tries, but I'll admit, my Blues aren't a great team to watch this year. Moana, very fun team to watch, especially just seeing Ardie doing his thing. Final game of the round, the top 2 Aussie sides, the Brumbies and the Reds, 24-14 to the Brumbies. You got to feel like their ability to punish during the yellow card was a pretty big difference, because both sides had key yellow cards in this game. Pollard got a yellow card, but they didn't concede any points to the Brumbies. And then when Paisami got a yellow card, the Brumbies managed to score 2. Often teams, punishing the extra man. The average is supposed to be around, 5 or 7 points? For the Brumbies to double it and the Reds to get nothing, very, very key. The Reds had a great start. Ryan got the first try from McDermott's snipe, fend, and offload. That was a cracker, 7 points to 0, but Alatoa even things up when he went over from close range. But like I mentioned, the yellow card periods, this is the key difference. Muirhead gets 1 and Wright gets 1. First try for Tom Wright this season. He set up like bloody 9 before the one he scores himself. Cracking stuff for him, and then a late penalty to the Brumbies ensures, like as Nasser's maul try had kind of brought things back to within a score. The late penalty means no losing bonus point for the Reds. No chance for the Reds to come back. Lachlan Shaw, the lock for the Brumbies, 25 tackles. That's massive. Fraser McCright, 4 turnovers, 1. Also massive, but also a losing shift for the Reds. How does that leave the table? Brumbies are first on 43, having played a game more than the Chiefs and the Crusaders, who are both on 41. Reds, Hurricanes, and Moana make out the bottom 3 sides who will be going through to the playoffs if the table stays as it is now. The Blues, who are on the bye next week, are on 28, so same points as Moana, but having 1 less win means they are behind Moana there. The Waratahs on 22, not mathematically dead and buried yet, but would need 2 wins from 2 for their final games. The Force are out, the Drua are out, and the Highlanders, despite being last, have 2 games to play, so could mathematically still make it, but would need to beat the Crusaders and the Chiefs. Round 15 sees 3 teams on the bye, my Blues, the Brumbies, and the Drua. which means we get Crusaders Highlanders. In all likelihood, a Crusaders win, and the end of the Highlanders season. Reds Hurricanes should be a real cracker because they are right next to each other on the table. Reds are at home. Chiefs Moana. The Chiefs cannot afford to take Moana lightly. For the Blues, it'd be good if Moana doesn't pick up any points there, because that'll leave the door open for the Blues come the final round, because Moana does have a couple of tough games with the Chiefs and Hurricanes away for their final two. But I know every neutral is going to want Moana to make it. And even as a Blues fan, I feel that, because my Blues haven't been pretty to watch. Force take on the Waratahs at home. Force can't make it, but it's their final game of the season, and they might like to play spoilers to the boys from out east. You guys let us know your thoughts on the round that was. How good is Ardie in the scheme of things? Take care, folks, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.